Picture this. You are sitting at your desk, coffee in hand. You have spent the last 3 days perfectly mapping out this massive project.
Oh, I know this feeling.
Right. Every deadline is set. Every single meeting is on the books. You are completely in control.
And it feels so good.
It feels amazing. But then an email pops up. The client just completely changed what they want. The whole scope is different. Everything you just built is useless.
Yeah, it is just gone.
And what is the very first thing you feel in that moment? I mean, it is not just annoyance. It is this sudden, tight feeling in your chest.
Right.
A quiet sense of dread that washes over you before you even read the second line of the email.
It is a physical bracing.
Mm-hmm.
Your shoulders hike up, your breathing gets really shallow, you feel this instant urge to just reject the new reality.
And that reaction right there, that literal freeze response, is the entire focus of our deep dive today. We are exploring the hidden mechanics of mental shifting.
Yeah.
Why do our brains just panic when life goes off script? And, how can we rewire our minds to not just survive that chaos, but actually thrive in it?
It is such a vital question.
Because here's the wild thing I have noticed. If you look around at the people who adapt fastest to sudden changes, they aren't always the smartest people in the room.
That is such a crucial point. We often think raw smarts will save us. Like, if you were just clever enough, you can handle anything.
Right, like IQ is everything.
Exactly. But real life shows us that being able to pivot your thinking when the rules change, that mental shifting, is the biggest sign of who stays afloat when things get tough.
It beats raw smarts every time.
It really does. And the most hopeful part of this is that mental shifting is not some fixed trait.
Yeah.
You're not just doomed to be a rigid person forever. It is a highly trainable skill.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to fix that chest tightness, I really need to know what my brain is actually doing when the client ruins my beautifully planned week. Where is this reaction even coming from?
Well, it all starts right behind your forehead. Think of it as the inner boss of your brain. It handles planning, complex choices, and moving your focus around.
Okay, the inner boss.
Right. Now, to manage the crazy demands of your daily life, your brain mostly relies on two distinct running modes. First, you have auto mode.
Auto mode, like cruise control.
Exactly like cruise control. It is highly efficient, it runs your daily habits, and it works based on deep predictions about how your day should go.
I picture it like driving on a long, straight highway. It is super easy. You save mental gas. You don't have to think about the pedals. You just listen to music and coast.
That is a brilliant way to look at it.
Right.
The problem is most of us spend about 95% of our waking hours in that mental cruise control.
Right. 95%.
Yeah. We crave knowing what is next because it saves precious energy. But then you have the second mode, manual mode.
Okay, the manual shift.
Right. This mode forces the brain to take in brand new details, compare them to past events, and build a totally new path forward in real time.
But because we spend all our time in auto mode, our manual mode is basically collecting dust, right?
Precisely. Your brain is a muscle. If you never take it off cruise control, the pathways used for rapid shifting literally weaken from lack of use.
So they just fade away.
They do. So when that random email hits, when the highway suddenly throws a sharp curve at you, it feels like a total disaster.
It feels so much worse than it is.
Exactly. It is not that you lack the brains to handle the new project. It is that your mind is wildly out of practice at shifting gears.
Wait, let me push back on this a bit, because I think a lot of people listening might feel slightly defensive right here.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, isn't hating plan changes just a sign of being highly organized?
Right.
Like if I get deeply annoyed when a friend delays dinner at the last minute, or if I refuse to go on a trip unless there's a minute-by-minute plan, why is that a lack of mental shifting? Why can't we just call that having high standards?
It is a really fair question. Mostly because our world actively praises that behavior. We love people who have every detail locked down.
We do. We give them awards for it.
We do. But what is actually happening underneath that polished mask of extreme planning? Your nervous system has learned a very dangerous lesson.
Which is?
It has learned that a strict plan equals safety, and the unknown equals danger.
Wow. Okay.
Admitting that a changed dinner plan shakes you to your core feels like a weakness. So we mask that internal scramble with a nice label. We say, oh, I just have high standards.
Right. We make it sound noble.
Exactly. But inside your body, something much more primal is happening.
What do you mean by primal? Are we talking about like a survival response?
Exactly that. Deep inside your brain is a small structure that acts like a smoke alarm. Its entire job is to scan the world for threats.
Okay. The threat radar.
Right. The problem is This radar is notoriously bad at telling the difference between a real physical danger, like a tiger jumping out of the bushes, and a disrupted mental expectation.
Like your boss moving a deadline up by 2 days.
Yes. To your threat radar, wild changes are a threat to your survival. When that smoke alarm goes off, it sets off a whole cascade of bodily alarms.
That explains the chest tightness.
That is exactly why you get the tight chest. It is why you might snap at your partner over something tiny, or why you instantly shut down a coworker's new idea before you even process what they said.
You are just bracing for impact.
It is a physical bracing for impact.
Okay, so if this freeze response is truly a physical nervous system reaction, then our physical health has to matter, right?
Oh, hugely.
It can't just be about having a good mindset, like what we eat, how we sleep, how much coffee we drink. How does all of that dictate our physical power to pivot?
The mind and body link here is purely mechanical. Let's look at chronic stress. When you are stressed, your brain is drowning in stress fuel.
Right, the stress hormones.
Yes. And when those levels stay high for a long time, it physically alters the brain.
How so?
Well, think about a survival moment. Your brain does not want you dreaming up 50 creative ways to escape the tiger. It wants you to do one thing: run.
Right, it forces tunnel vision.
Exactly. That stress fuel literally narrows the pathways in the front of your brain. It shuts down the expansive, creative, flexible networks because they burn too much energy.
So a stressed brain is physically less capable of seeing new options.
Yes. It defaults to rigid black and white thinking.
So when I am stressed, my brain is basically boarding up the windows and locking the doors to any new ideas.
That is a perfect way to picture it.
What about diet? Does food change how fast those doors can open?
Diet plays a massive role. Consider healthy fats, like the ones in salmon, walnuts, chia seeds. Your brain cells are wrapped in fatty layers.
Okay.
When you eat lots of healthy fats, those layers are physically more fluid and flexible. That allows signals to pass between them much faster.
It is like greasing the hinges of the brain.
Exactly. But on the flip side, a diet heavy in junk food and refined sugars creates rigid cell layers. Plus, you get massive sugar spikes.
Oh, the sugar crash.
Right. When your blood sugar crashes, your brain sees it as a massive energy crisis. And that triggers the smoke alarm all over again.
That is a cruel, cruel irony.
It really is.
Think about it. You, listening right now, when you are incredibly stressed out by a sudden crisis at work, what do you instinctively do?
You reach for comfort.
Right. You reach for a massive sugary pastry. You down an enormous iced coffee at 3 in the afternoon.
Yep.
You are literally fueling your body with the exact things that will make your brain cells rigid, spike your stress fuel, and destroy your mental shifting at the exact moment you need it most.
It is a perfect storm of self-sabotage. And if you add lack of sleep to that mix, your focus shrinks down to a pinhole. You leave your brain with zero physical power to adapt to anything.
Wow. Okay, there is one other coping habit we all use when stressed, and I really want to pull on this thread.
What's that?
We grab our phones, we scroll for that quick dopamine hit.
Oh, yeah. The endless scroll.
If sitting at a screen looking at normal emails keeps me in cruise control, does mindlessly scrolling social media actively make me worse at handling a real-life crisis?
The mechanics of this are just fascinating. When you are scrolling and checking alerts every 5 seconds, you are doing something called context switching.
Jumping from one thing to another.
Right. You look at a news headline, then a funny meme, then an email, then a text. You are training your brain for shallow, highly reactive attention.
Like doing reps at the gym.
Exactly. You are doing reps for the muscle of distraction. But mental shifting requires the exact opposite.
It requires deep focus.
Yes. Deep, sustained, flexible thought. You cannot train your brain for shallow reactions for 6 hours a day and then expect it to magically execute deep, complex adapting when a project falls apart.
Okay, that makes terrifying sense.
It is pretty sobering.
So if shallow phone scrolling is training the wrong muscle, what physical action actually trains the manual mode? Do I just need to do more puzzles?
Puzzles are great for memory, but for mental shifting, you want reactive physical movement. Think about playing a sport like tennis or martial arts or even a fast dance class.
Why those specifically? Why not just jogging on a treadmill?
Because jogging on a treadmill is highly predictable. It is physical cruise control.
Ah, I see.
But in a tennis match, conditions change by the millisecond. You have to read the other player's body language, track the speed of the ball, gauge the wind, and instantly adjust your physical response.
So you are forced to adapt.
Exactly. And it turns out the brain wiring you use to rapidly adapt to a flying tennis ball is the exact same wiring it uses to adapt to a sudden job change or a canceled flight.
That is wild. Dodging a tennis ball uses the same biological hardware as dodging a major life problem.
It is the exact same neural muscle. Train it in the physical world, and it becomes stronger in the mental world.
Okay, let's say I have optimized all of this. I am sleeping 8 hours. I am eating my salmon and walnuts. I am playing tennis 3 times a week.
You are doing great.
My physical baseline is perfect. Yet when my boss completely changes my role at work, I still freeze. Why doesn't a perfect physical state guarantee mental shifting?
Because once you clear the physical hurdles, you hit the mental wall.
The mental wall.
Right. We often resist change, not because the new plan is bad, but because the change threatens our identity.
Identity. That feels like a massive leap from just wanting things to be predictable. How does a daily plan map to who I am as a person?
Well, it is about how we build our sense of self at different stages of life.
Okay, walk me through that.
In your 20s, you are constantly comparing yourself to your peers. So, if your career path suddenly changes, it does not just feel like a scheduling problem. It feels like a direct threat to the person you're trying to become.
That makes total sense. And what about later on?
Between 28 and 35, you have massive pressures converging. Marriage, kids, housing, career peaks. You feel like you should have it all figured out.
So any change feels like failure.
Exactly. Unexpected change feels like proof that you are failing at life.
And as we get older?
From 35 to 45, your habits start to feel deeply fixed. You have done things a certain way for a decade. Change just feels exhaustingly hard.
You just want peace.
Right. And past 45, there is often this creeping fear that it is too late to pivot, combined with a strong pull to protect whatever legacy you have built.
This maps perfectly onto some real-life stories I was thinking about. Let's talk about a friend. Let's call her Sarah.
Okay, Sarah.
She is 31, works in marketing, and she had her entire self-worth wrapped up in this immaculate step-by-step 5-year plan.
Oh, the 5-year plan.
Right. She knew exactly what title she would have at 35. Then her company restructured. Her whole department was just eliminated overnight.
That is devastating.
It was. And instead of pivoting, she spent months furiously trying to force her old plan to work. She would only apply to identical roles in other companies, completely blinding herself to lateral moves or new fields.
Right, because losing the 5-year plan felt like losing yourself. The plan was Sarah.
Exactly. But she finally broke out of that freeze state thanks to a mentor who gave her a brilliantly simple reframe.
What did they say?
The mentor asked her, what if this is not a detour but new information?
Wow. That is a textbook example of reframing. Taking the exact same data, losing the job, and changing the emotional lens through which it is viewed.
It changed everything for her.
Right.
Then you have someone like Michael. He is 43, an operations manager.
Right.
His entire identity was built around being the guy who has the system, the guy who has all the answers.
The fixer.
Exactly. Suddenly, his company forces everyone to switch to a brand new software platform overnight. And Michael loses it. He is irritable, he is snapping at his team, he is complaining constantly that the new software is useless.
Well, the real issue is not the software at all.
Right. The real issue was that Michael was walking around wearing what we could call identity armor.
Identity armor. I like that.
He needed to be the expert to feel valuable, so not knowing how to use the software didn't feel like a normal learning curve. It felt like a total failure of who he was as a man.
That is so heavy.
It is. His breakthrough only came when he was watching his teenage daughter play a video game. The game updated, the rules changed, and she just casually shrugged and said, "You aren't supposed to know it yet. You are supposed to figure it out as you go."
Oh, that is brilliant. That shifted his entire worldview. He realized he was trying to instantly master something that was just meant to be a puzzle.
But looking at someone like Michael, I really have to ask the hard question.
Yeah.
He is in his 40s. He has worn that identity armor for decades.
Yeah.
If you are listening to this right now and you are 45, 50, 60 years old, is your brain essentially set in concrete?
People worry about that so much.
Can you actually rewire your identity at that age, or is the cruise control permanently stuck?
It is a very common fear, but the science gives us a wonderfully hopeful answer. The brain's ability to build entirely new roads and connections remains active until the day you die.
Really? Until the end?
Yes, it is absolutely not set in concrete. Now, building a new road through a dense forest takes a bit more conscious effort at 50 than it does at 20 because the old roads are so deeply paved. But the power never leaves you.
But bulldozing that new road through the forest is going to be incredibly awkward and tough.
Extremely tough. And that is the biggest myth we need to clear up. The people who are best at mental shifting, the ones who seem to just glide through chaos, they do not have magical, emotionless brains.
Wait, they don't.
No. When their plans fall apart, their alarm system still fires. They still feel that exact same tightness in their chest.
Wait, really? They feel the exact same dread?
Yes. The difference is entirely in how they judge that feeling.
How do you mean?
Well, a rigid person feels the chest tightness and thinks, something is horribly wrong, I must fight this.
Right, they panic.
But a flexible person feels the chest tightness and thinks, my brain is shifting out of cruise control. This is just the physical feeling of adapting.
Wow.
They expect the discomfort so they don't panic when it arrives.
That is incredibly freeing to hear. If you hate change, nothing is broken inside you. You aren't failing at life, you are just feeling a physical gear shift.
Exactly. It is just your body working.
So let's get incredibly practical. Assuming the listener wants to start building those new roads in the forest today, what is the actual day-to-day training habit?
Step 1 is noticing and reframing. Before you can change your reaction, you just have to catch it in the wild.
Catch the freeze.
Right? The next time a plan changes and you feel that bracing effect, pause. Acknowledge the freeze. And then do exactly what Sarah did. Do a mental push-up.
A mental push-up. I like that.
Force yourself to ask, what is one completely different way to view this? Even if your initial anger feels completely justified, force your brain to generate just one alternative reality.
You are forcing the front of the brain back online. I love that. The next step is what I like to call microdosing change.
Yes, small doses.
You don't have to wait for a major life crisis to practice adapting. You can intentionally introduce tiny, harmless disruptions into your daily life.
Give me an example.
Take a completely different route home from work without using GPS. Go to a restaurant and order something you can't even pronounce.
It is so simple, but so effective. By microdosing the unexpected, you are teaching your nervous system in a very low-stakes setting that the unknown does not equal death.
You are fixing the faulty smoke alarm.
Exactly. Another powerful trick is perspective switching. The next time you are in a disagreement with someone, before you formulate your comeback, challenge yourself to state their viewpoint back to them in a way they agree with.
Oh, that sounds exhausting. But I see how it works. You are forcing your brain to hold two conflicting realities at the same time without panicking.
Exactly. It breaks that rigid black and white thinking. You also need to heavily monitor your words.
The words we use out loud?
Yes. We have a bad habit of worst-case thinking when plans change. We say things out loud like, this ruins my entire week, or this is a total disaster.
Oh, I say that all the time.
We all do. But the brain listens to those words. If you use dramatic language, your threat radar dials up the stress response to match it.
So dramatic words literally manufacture a dramatic physical stress response. We are poisoning our own well.
We really are. If you simply downgrade your language to, well, this is highly annoying, your physical stress response will physically decrease.
Okay, there is one step in this training that genuinely confused me, and I want you to clear it up.
Sure. What is it?
We just talked about microdosing change, taking new routes, trying new foods. But another part of the practice pushes reducing daily choices by keeping routines super simple.
Right. Simplifying.
Like wearing the same black shirt every day or eating the exact same breakfast. But if we are trying to train our brain to be flexible, shouldn't we be forcing ourselves to make more decisions, not fewer? Isn't a strict morning routine the exact opposite of what we want?
That is a brilliant catch. But it comes down to understanding how your mental focus actually works.
Okay.
Think of your brain like a smartphone battery. You wake up with 100% charge. Every single choice you make, what to wear, what to eat, which road to take, which email to answer first, it drains a tiny bit of that battery.
Right. It takes energy.
Now, mental shifting, real adapting when a crisis hits, requires a massive surge of battery power.
Oh, I see where this is going.
If you have spent all morning agonizing over tiny choices, you are draining your battery on things that do not matter.
So you have nothing left.
Right. When that unexpected email arrives at 2 in the afternoon, your battery's at 5%. Your brain is too tired to generate creative solutions, so it forcefully defaults to rigid auto mode.
Ah, okay, so we automate the trivial stuff, so we have the mental energy available to pivot when it actually matters.
Exactly. Simplifying meaningless choices
Yeah.
protects your mental battery for the real challenges.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And that ties directly into the final piece of the practice, creating buffer space.
White space in the calendar.
Right. The worst thing you can do for mental shifting is pack your schedule back to back from 8 in the morning to 6 at night with zero breaks.
Because when a schedule is that tight, there is zero slack in the system.
None at all.
When you have no buffer, a 10-minute delay is a massive domino effect that ruins your whole day. The smoke alarm goes off instantly.
Because it actually is a disaster for the schedule.
Right. But if you have purposefully scheduled 15-minute gaps between meetings, a 10-minute delay is just a minor puzzle to solve. It is totally fine.
So as we bring all this together, I really want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over.
It is a big one.
When you look at the skills people need for the future, they constantly ranked adapting and mental shifting as the most critical, high-demand skills on the planet.
Above almost everything else.
Above coding, above data, above any hard technical skill.
Because technical skills have a shelf life. They expire as tech advances. But the natural ability to learn, unlearn, and adapt to new models is future-proof.
Exactly. But let's zoom out even further. We are rapidly moving into a world defined by AI, climate shifts, and wild economic changes. The pace of change is just rapid.
Faster than ever.
Could our shared mental shifting be the ultimate dividing line between societies that thrive in the future and ones that completely fracture?
That is a profound question.
Think about the baseline level of global anxiety we are all living with right now. How much of that is simply our shared auto mode short-circuiting because the world is throwing sharp curves at us faster than our outdated cruise control can handle?
It makes so much sense. If our primal smoke alarms fire every single time our plans are disrupted, and the modern world is disrupting our plans on a daily global scale.
Then millions of people are walking around in a constant state of physical threat.
Exactly. Training this skill is no longer just a neat trick for getting ahead at work. It is quite literally a core requirement for handling the future with your sanity intact.
It really is. So here is our challenge to you for tomorrow. You do not have to overhaul your entire personality. Just pick one tiny thing to microdose.
Just one thing.
Take a slightly different road on your commute. Or deliberately leave a 10-minute blank space in your calendar and guard it with your life.
And pay attention to how it feels.
Right. When the inevitable happens, when someone cancels on you or a plan falls through, and that quiet sense of dread creeps into your chest, do not fight it.
Just observe it.
Exactly. Say to yourself, that is just my brain shifting gears. Remember that discomfort is not a sign of failure. It is just the feeling of your mind finally waking up.
These thoughts, these questions, they don't have to stop here. Geeks Mindset has many more podcasts and videos just like this one. Subscribe to the channel and explore other episodes. They all flow the same thoughtful way. If this podcast felt genuinely useful to you, share it with even one person in your life. That one share can bring a real change in someone's life. And it helps Geeks Mindset reach more people who truly need this. If this brought you real value, look for the join button right next to the Geeks Mindset logo below this video. Click it and become a member of the Mindset Support Circle. Your support helps honest mindset awareness reach thousands who are silently struggling. Geeks Mindset moves forward because of you. Thank you so much from the heart for being here.